Father shined on me. I am the way, and all of His might. All eyes on me within your sight. I am the light. You are the light. I am the light.
I am the light.
Jesus said I am blue and the light. God's paradise cycle, not those particulars of night. I gave up that ghost, Eloi, Eloi, I'm a suburban house. I found them out of the dark. My Father shined on me. I am the way in all of His might. All eyes on me within your sight. I am the light.
I am the light.
You are the light. I am the light. Jesus said I'm the way. When the way God's part is like those particulars. I gave him that ghost to light. Illuminate the summer, funny. Those eyes are dark. I am the light. All of His might. All eyes on me. Within your sight.
Let it play.
I am the light. You are the light. I am the light.
I am the light.
Jesus said I am blue and the light. But I cycle not particular night. I gave up that ghost, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani else. I'll follow them out of the dark. My Father shined on me. I am the way, all of His might. All eyes on me within your sight. I am the light.
I am the light.
Jesus said I'm the way, and the way is hard to say. Get that ghost blood, illuminate the summer night. My Father shine on me. I am the way, and all of His might. All eyes on me within your sight.
I am the light. Why they playing with my screen already? Greater lie. They want to play like that. That's all right. You ain't gotta look at Kanye. There we go. There we go.
Jesus said I am the way and the light. God's paradise cycle, not those particulars.
Greater lie. Get over here.
Night. I
gave up that ghost.
Eloi, lama sabachthani else. I'll follow them out of the dark. My Father shined on me. I am
the way in all of His might. All eyes on me within your. I am. Let me untie this.
I'm the way, and the light God's part is cycle, not those particulars tonight. I gave up that ghost to light. Illuminate the summer, funny. Those eyes are dark.
Greater light, get out over here.
I'm the way, and all of His might. All eyes on me within your sight. Jesus said I'm the way, and the light God's part is cycle. I gave up that ghost to light. Illuminate the all of His might. All eyes on me within your sight. In all of His might. I am the light. I am the light. Jesus said I am the.
Y'all want this party started quickly, right? Come on, say that He will. He'll do the best to fulfill. You don't want to lose His love. You don't want to lose His love. Don't want to lose His love. Don't want to. Greater light, greater light. My mind is God's mind. I'm always reflecting divine wisdom and divine intelligence. My brain symbolizes the capacity to think wisely and spiritually. God's ideas unfold within my mind in perfect sequence. I am always poised, balanced, serene, and calm because I know God has provided the perfect solution before the foundations of all this man-made mumbo jumbo. Before the foundations, in the beginning was the Word, and I am the Word. You are the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word came to light and walks amongst men. Look, before the foundations, God never created the perfect solution within my DNA. They tried to switch up and confuse the scripture and say Jesus said, if you eat me and you drink me. Nah, he said, eat the knowledge. Take in the knowledge. Feed yourself about who I am, Feed yourself about who you are, because if you study your flesh, you're going to find out exactly what it is the devil trying to do. You're going to do greater than what I did, because I just died in flesh and rose. They tried to destroy the light, and they didn't realize that they were trying to destroy the light. They thought they had to destroy the flesh to kill me. And when they finally realized that they messed up, it was not the flesh. When they saw that Jesus rose and the light, they watched the light. All they telescopes watched the light rise. They're like, uh-oh, we made a mistake, And ever since then, they've been trying to take out your light and destroy the light. See, when the first giddy up and go round, there was stories about death didn't exist like that. And then when sin came in and men started worshiping everything outside of God, he said, we got to send somebody to understand and comprehend what's really going on. So Jesus came with a message 10,000 years ago. And that message said, you will do greater. But in order for you to do it, I'm going to leave a code, because see, they want to kill, they've been trying to kill me before I was born. They knew the stories of Jesus before he was born. What do you think that means about you? If they knew the stories of Christ before he even entered his mother's womb, and they had prophecies and predictions to try to take him out, then what do you think that means about you? The example, the image of. Now, the whole fact of the matter is he left the code in the DNA because he said, look, I'm going to conquer the flesh. I came to fulfill the prophecies that was written about the flesh. You're going to do greater, because what happens when I transition in flesh, they realize that they messed up. They realized I was exactly who, and they realized that when I leave, now they gotta have more trouble on their hand than ever before. Because not only did they commit murder, now they're gonna have it out for everybody who has the seed and the light and the love and light of Lion of Judah. And that's exactly what you see going on right now. So the first thing they would have to do in order to be able to destroy your light is to purchase your light, to make your light a slave so they could constantly be dim. A slave to all of the mind factoring alterations that are existing on this level or this plane of existence. Some of you keep looking back over your life. As I look back over my life, and you go at least 10 or 20 times and count on your fingers and say, dang, I should have been dead then. I should have been dead then. I should have been dead, because they not, you are written, it's written that the protection that is over your life for the glorification, for the honor and glory, for the final days is already written. Things you can't understand. Well, we know our children belongs to God. We belong to God. But it's painful in this flesh, especially when you carried your child or your children, to lose them to the things of this world and then not want to blame God. But when you are born again, when you realize the purpose or your purpose or why you were sent here in the first place on purpose, it all balances on the scale, and you begin to remain balanced, serene, and calm, because you realize there was a purpose. So, for whatever it is that you believe that God has done for you and will do for you or gonna do for you in your journey on this realm, whatever it is you say amen, you say Selah, you could say I'm a shama, whatever it is that you say, that's all good and dandy for you. I say God, you promise. God is keeping his promises to me. God is keeping his promises, and it is unfolding and unveiling every word to the T. There's power in the word. It's not power in one name. It's power in all of the words. Now, there are dead words and there are living words. There are words of death, and then there are living words. There is words of darkness where you cannot see, and then there is words of light. Now, the words of light can walk into words of darkness and give light into all that is in the house. The light that they want to take from you is encapsulated in darkness, which is this flesh. The light that their x-rays and all their scanners and everything picks up in order to try to control who you are, try to control your movement, try to control the simulated environments around you with their methods and their ideologies and their theories and their research and development that they have continued to do throughout the years of your awakening. They're at their last hope. They're at the final call, we are all at the finalization of the games. Game up. Now, the difference between our ancestors or your descendants as you ascend forward is, according to history, they didn't have a choice in the matter because they were continuously being tricked and fooled. These last days, everyone has a choice. There is no tricking going on. The only tricking going on is Trick Daddy. Huh? There's no tricking going on. They have to be transparent down to everything. If you don't study to show yourself approved, I'm not talking about the religious aspects and the spiritual aspects, just your flesh and blood alone. If you don't study your flesh and blood like they study in your flesh and blood, then there's a problem. But you will have no excuse because the Bible states, study that to show thyself approved unto God, so that you will not be ashamed in the final hour when they rightly divide who you are. They're going to separate the darkness from the light. And that's for those who are asleep presently, those who are attached to the land, those who have went up, because you have those who are not attached to the land. They came in through light and they leaving through light. And then you have those who have accepted in their genetics that they came from the land. They were the ones that were here when God hovered upon the face of the deep. I don't get that because it says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. But if you have those who feel like they didn't come from God, they came straight from this earth, and good for them. There's something in their code that make them believe that they are attached to this land. And it's okay because the land is going to be cleansed. If you make the right choice, the land is going to be cleansed so that you can live on it freely with no disease, no pain, no suffering. Listen, I got a message from them people again trying to teach me something and tell me about peace. Ain't nobody been more peaceful and forgiving than Abigail. Huh? But it ain't about me being forgiven too. You see who I am? I have no desire to be at peace with people who are going to accept sin, hatred, and all that other stuff that God doesn't agree with, love and light. So this earth has to be destroyed and cleansed, and God's promise is not about Jesus is coming with a sickle. There is gonna be war again with heaven and earth. I want to see it. I want to know that the children see if evil is still existing, even though everybody could come to peace right now. All the murderers could say, you know what? We don't want to murder no more for right now. We want to be at peace with everybody. All the child molesters can say, we will not molest nobody for right now. And everybody is at peace. And then a few hours later, they can say, oh, we changed our mind. Back to it. Nah, no, baby. No, whatever message the Messianic Y'all keep like y'all trying to teach me something. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to teach you. God made a promise that the children will no longer suffer. God made a promise that mothers who have suffered on account of all this man-made mumbo jumbo, they lies and deception, they're going to be handled. God has made a promise that widows, who have been used and abused by the system, people who lived in peace and harmony that suffered on account of all these different simulations that they have created to try to take and destroy who you are. All that's going to be taken care of. All them billionaires at the top. Let me tell you something about billionaires. I made a statement a few days ago in regards to look at the people who've been in the industry for so long and they are not even billionaires. So then they're going to post something based on what I said to say, look, ooh, Michael Jordan, because I specifically mentioned Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's in the billionaire bracket. And then Oprah Winfrey. Let me tell you something. Just what I said, they just touching the billionaire mark. And how long Oprah been in the industry? Damn near 40 years. How long Michael Jordan been in the industry? Now all of a sudden he king of Ireland. They honored him with history on St. Patrick's Day. But he just touching the billionaire mark. They be talking about these Moors and stuff that you see online that had gold and jewelry and all. Those are the same people back then like they are today. The 22 billionaires that exist, they took pictures or had somebody draw a few of them billionaires. It's only 22 black or dark skin or African American or whatever you want to call these beings that exist. It's only 22 billionaires out of 3,000 billionaires on this planet. That add up to you? You will always be a slave to their industry. People talking about they want to live good. They want to be this and they want to be that. As you see the things that are going on in flesh. As long as Oprah Winfrey has been in the industry and all the things that she says she stands for or against, you have not yet seen her attack or go against any of this mess that's happening to the children within the industries. Michael Jordan has been in the industry long enough behind the scenes to see the things that has happened within the industry that trickles down to mess up the minds of those, and he hasn't opened his mouth and said nothing. You don't see them standing at the White House proclaiming and standing up for certain things. His own community, he had a janitor working at his school, so they say. A janitor working within the system at his school from the time that he graduated. And he just going back and helping the janitor. Get out of the janitor's closet. 22 African American, 22 black billionaires out of 3,000 billionaires. And 6 of those billionaires are Nigerian. And they just touching the crumbs of being at the billionaire mark. When the money transitions over, what is that going to mean for you? When they get ready to purchase who you are and put you in these brackets that they have in the system that they just posted in Federal Register, what is that going to mean for you? Now, if you, somebody, I'm not good at math. You do the math. 3,000, let's say 3,100 billionaires on this planet. That's like 1 in every 3 million individuals, ain't it? If it's 8 billion people on this planet, only 1 in every 3 million people are a billionaire. Everybody that's sitting on Doge's platform is a billionaire. Everyone that worked with Doge, everyone worked with Elon Musk is a billionaire, but they steady trying to scrape and try to figure out. They say they trying to figure out and save the billions of dollars, right? The oversights. But when Doge first came out, their oversight was about the words. Their oversight was about the word. What games, mind games, are they really playing in these last and final hours? So you see my title. My title says From AI to UBI. Now, anybody know or kind of walk with me every now and then, take a little couple of steps with me in these YouTube streams, saw that I put up a post, and the post is about UDI. Now, ain't no need of me going and putting up something about UDI and saying what I said to Elon Musk, let the games begin, and not follow up with those who watch me. Because when I first showed my CAT scans and MRI from the past, and I showed was transparent online and showed where they had experimented on me and that there was something in my skull. And that happened when they traumatized me, kidnapped me, stole my son, and everything that they did to me between 1992 and 1994. And when they used to take us down for physicals, they would tell us we going for a physical or whatever. Every time we had an appointment coming up, it was only like 10 women in that facility of research and development amongst 200 men. But anytime we knew we had an appointment coming up, they said, "Oh, they taking you to the dungeon. You go into the dungeon, and we'll get on this elevator, big elevator that takes you straight down to the basement, and they do whatever research." But it wasn't years, like literally like around 2017, that I actually start taking my really paying attention to my CAT scans and my CDs from the hospitals, which some of them I had since 2009 or 2010. Okay, why am I saying that? Why am I bringing it back up right now? So in the past, I made jokes about it. I was like, Elon, and I did my research about the facility and everything like that, and I was transparent to parent about that. But I started saying, what is this in my skull? Y'all let me know what it is. So I didn't really have proof because the government wasn't being transparent with individuals. So, and they give you tidbits of information in the great web of things or the internet of things. So I was able to see, researches through their federal files that point to People that are incarcerated were given tracking devices as early as the 90s. They started putting tracking devices in individuals from that far long ago. And again, not being able to have the proof from my medical files, except for a CAT scan that shows an image that could possibly be anything, is one thing. But now, based on PCAST and their laws of transparency that they have to do according to the contract between heaven and earth in your medical files, if they implant anything in you or they see an implant in you, they have to put it on your medical paperwork. They have to be transparent. But a lot of people will not read the fine prints of their paperwork. A lot of people will not read the discharge papers or even request their medical records. Like I always do, requesting your medical records is taking in the knowledge about what it is they're studying about your flesh, what it is that happened during your surgery. How many times did your heart stop beating? How much anesthesia did they have to give you? What did all of your so-called the panels that they use to know who you are and where you're from and what they can possibly do to you and with you through the research and development, what does that mean to them? You need to know what it is, what you mean to them in their network of things. Because that's the key to your position on this constellation. You're a reflection of the constellation above, then you're on the constellation. Okay, so let me show you something. UDI is a term that refers to tracking of medical equipment. Okay? UDI is a term in reference to tracking medical equipment. Now, I've communicated with those who watch my lives when I was in the hospital. And in my discharge papers, which I just found this out yesterday as I was reading it again, because again, I take my time and go through everything. And this right here so now I just gave y'all a whole bunch of transparent information. I told you I'm a king. I didn't put my name. I'm not hiding from nothing or no one. So because of that, so now I see this long drawn out code because they put that information there and then they put the code to what it is. But let me show you the false narrative. They did everything they can to make sure I didn't have a surgery. Years ago, I showed where when I had a hernia repair, there's a wire on my hernia, the mesh. So he kept doing everything he can to make sure that they didn't have to touch that mesh. And he said, again, the one of the last surgeries that I had, the surgeon did say if they had to go into my intestines again or whatever, that I may not make it out of that. But I don't think that that doctor knew that. In my mind, all I can imagine is whoever the owners of the wire that's on my mesh have already let him know that he don't need to touch that. Okay. So I showed this wire on my mesh, and every single time I get to a certain point in my knowledge about who I am, I have some trauma hit me, like pains that seem like I'm having a bowel obstruction pain, and I have to go in for surgery. So that happened this time, except for before they even start talking about the surgery, I told them I'm putting in a DNR, do not resuscitate. And I believe that's the reason why they didn't just go in and do the surgery. For 3 days, I was in so much agonizing pain. And even the surgeon or the doctor who was dressed as military doctor, every time they come in with the very dark navy blue, I know that they're part of the military structure. The dark navy blue scrubs, I know they're part of the military structure. And when I told him DNR, he said, well, we won't do the surgery. They will not do the surgery if you say DNR. He tried to tell me that. The surgeon came back later and said, no, that's not true. And he explained it out. He explained at what point and all that. He broke it down. So those who are doctors, nurses, or anybody listening in that's in the medical field know exactly what I'm talking about. But the head honcho, over knowing about this equipment in me and knowing who I am, was trying to tell me, no, if I sign a DNR and they have to do surgery, they're not going to do surgery because I signed a DNR. And that right there, another thing that kind of cued me into these things within my body. There are times that I can press a certain spot in my body and the pain will immediately go over to my right leg. So there are certain points in my body where it doesn't feel like, I know the pressure points from when I studied massage therapy, but it's just off. Even in my stomach, if I press a certain place in my stomach around that wire, it'll trigger something in my right leg. I'm slowly gearing you up to what a UDI is. So on this paperwork, it says and it states that I had a leg bag. And I know I didn't have a leg bag. I didn't have a leg bag in ER, the 24 hours where that nurse traumatized me in ER, and those little nurses out there said, look at her record. Huh? Ain't nobody care about what she yelling out and crying about in there, and how they deceived my mother, made them think she was talking to the nurse and all that. They let me sit there all them hours. I had to use the bathroom and all that they took me through. And then I finally get moved up on the floor. And on this floor, they had the camera up there and everything. I had 2 or 3 cameras in that room. But the whole I was never unconscious. And it says on this device that they say they put in there, they put a leg bag next to it, and then they put out this long code. Like, they don't know grandma. Grandma gonna find out what that code is. And lo and behold, this is why we're here today. This is going to take some time. It might be 3 days as I go through with you to help you be able to decipher and break down who are the stakeholders over your life that are trying to purchase your life and has been and have been before you even came into existence. When they followed the stars to know when you were born, when they had their magis know that you were coming into this plane of existence, huh? And out of those 1 in every 3 million people, that is a billionaire that has a stakehold that sat at Notre Dame. I'm going to show you how to find out who they are. And I'm still unraveling, because what's happening with me is I have to come to narrow it down, because there's more than just one device in me. There's the device that's in the back of my skull. There's the wire that is on that mesh. And then there's a screw in my body. And I've never had a broken bone. I've never had any implants that I know about. So if any implants are in my mouth or my gums or in my, all that happened when they did their research on me and was taking me down to the dungeon in 1992. So according to my profile in this paperwork, where they had to be transparent, I have 1, 2, 3 devices in me. I have 3 devices or 3 implants in me. I know for sure that one of the devices is that wire on my mesh. I did not know about a screw in me because, again, I've never, ever had any broken bones. Not even never. No type of broken bone ever. No type of slot adjustments. That now, when they had to resuscitate me, one of the times that they had to resuscitate me, I had felt like fractures in here in my chest. And it took a minute to heal. And that's what made me put my paperwork to see if I had to be resuscitated, or I knew I had to be resuscitated. But as far as I know, I don't have any, they didn't use any screws on that. So let's go. The way to track your UDI, once you get your paperwork, you could go to FDA to track your UDI. Okay? You could go, there's a couple of other sites, but if you truly want to get down to it under the government stance, you could go straight to a government site and do it. But there's a couple of medical sites that you could track your implant. Okay? The first site that I used in tracking my implant was the FDA. Okay? And let me put this here so that you'll know every time I say UDI, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna put on my glasses. UDI. And you know, what I know is they're gonna be like, yeah, man, nobody listening to her. Y'all know she is out of her mind. I want to call it unidentified. I got ready to type in unidentified. Um, okay. So that is what the acronym UDI means. All right. Now, as far as so far, I have pulled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 names connected to the devices that are within me. But again, I'm on a mission to narrow it down to who is the head stakeholder over the research and development that has been being done before I even entered into this realm. Okay. The first name I'm going to go with, I'm going to name them all out right now. Aleutian, Cardinal. Now, this name right here looks like the order of Melchizedek. And you know what I realized? One of the creators that are working with them knew I was going to come, and they tried to do one of those subliminal, if I talk about some of the things, then she ain't going to talk about it. You got me messed up. You got me messed up. They know who I'm talking about too. Now I know for sure that they work with these people. I wouldn't be surprised of his ranks in the military. I wouldn't be surprised of how high his ranks is in the governmental, in the background. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so this is one of the names of the companies or LLCs or GmbHs. GmbHs are the Germans and the Russians. It's their way of saying LLC. So behind like that company right here that looks like the word Melchizedek, behind that company is a GmbH. Space Labs. Oh, Grandma, for real? Yes. Space Labs is one of the holders of the devices. In my paperwork, I want to show y'all again. Of the devices that's within me. Space Labs come right out of Washington. This right here threw me for a loop. I was like, what? Are one of the holders and the stakeholders Hold on. Okay. Are one of the holders its stakeholders of the implants within me? Now, this one right here led me to ask people a question. This company led me to ask you a question. Do you know what the acronym of Meta means? Do you know why CHIPS Act came into effect in the first place? Of course, because of the research and development. And why Facebook transitioned over to Meta in the first place? Because Meta is the Medical Equipment Technology Association head. They work with medical technology and equipment head departments of the world. So now you see why Doge would need a rocket science. And Zuckerberg will walk with a briefcase with a chain on his hand. And the only reason why I know that is because this company and Bill. It's not a coincidence that Meta, who all of their beta testing and technology, after doing so many years of social engineering with Facebook, transitioned over around the same time that the CHIPS Act law came into effect. And that it's not a coincidence that the acronyms or Meta, and automatically, their definition came up with some type of fairy tale thing when it's dealing with augmented reality, virtual reality, your light, and all of the different frequencies used to manipulate, transform, transcend, put you on a mount of transfiguration within a headset or through glasses or through, after doing years of research on people like me in order to get it right. It's not a coincidence that the Medical Equipment Technology Association, which is the head department, there's not a coincidence that that acronym matches Meta's acronyms. It's not a coincidence that the wars that are happening involve the healthcare system. It's not a coincidence that the main focus of each president, like say Biden, their main focus was diabetes research in order to release the watches and the technology in your phone that would give them an allowance to read your brain waves without permission and to read your REM waves without permission, and to read your heart rate without permission, and to take your blood samples through light code without permission. If these phones can take a picture and tell you how much water is needed in a plant through light, the phones can take a picture or scan a plant and tell you how much water that plant needs. What do you think it's able to do with you and your light code in your body? So now as I go down and look at these different companies, I begin my research on trying to narrow it down. Are they going to give me that amount of time to narrow it down to tell you? Yeah, you know why? Because they don't listen to grandma. They ain't got no attention. So she gonna be here talking for nothing. And when they finally realize it, it'll be they'll be sticking their hands out saying, yes, we want the mark of the beast. So the first company I'm gonna look up, or the name of it is this. They have a share in the equipment that is within me. Some people will be like, Grandma, well, you ain't gonna go to Space Lab first? Nah, I want to say Space Labs. I want to say Space Labs for last. I would love to do for Space Labs first, because Space Labs, when I go to Space Labs, I went in the Federal Register and was able to track all the way back to 1994. Now, in the code, when you find your device, or they let you know about your device puts you in a batch number according to your day of birth, the month of your birth, and the year that they implanted that device. So according to the batch that I'm under with Space Labs, they implanted it in 1992. According to my batch number. The reason, look, it's only a few people that are going to hear what I say and take it seriously. And they are going to go and they're going to look for their medical records, and they're going to check to see if the device was planted in them and what that device number is. I'm showing you how to narrow it down and understand and be able to read the codes that they're going to put, long codes. It's some of you have more recent, up-to-date implants. And these implants can be as small as a chip. Some of you, they easily stuck the implant when they jabbed you up the nose. But guess what? That information is in your medical records. And the difference between an implant, or when you go in and you get some fluid and it has to come out of you, is the implant is something that's going to stay in you for a period of time. Some of the implants are a one-time use. The implant may still be in you, but then it comes off cold, offline. They take it offline and they don't use it no more. So it's just like a one-time use. But that doesn't mean that it didn't leave your body. Okay? So when they scan you, they're still able to scan that, oh, this implant is in this person, but the implant is out of date. So some of you may find out that you have 10 different implants in you because you have been working with and not against the system. And because you may have 10 implants in you doesn't mean that they're all active. Some of them were one-time use. Some of them are offline. So now, let me just show you and keep with Space Labs. Let's just make this quick and easy, because I may change my mind, and God's mind might direct me to do this live and not talk about it anymore. So I don't want to go into all of these other stakeholders when I could definitely go straight to space. Why would Space Labs have a stakehold in having equipment in me? It means I'm a dinosaur. I'm an old ancient to the technology that they have now. And the difference between me, I was arrested to do this because many of you, at least 144,000 of you, they have been following the stars about your birth from the first era, the first golden age, the bronze age, the copper age, the ice age. They've been following about your birth and who you are for that long. So for being like me that says it is out here and has been being this way since elementary, why would Space Labs? Because of everything that I've been saying in these last and final days. They did so much to try to block my steps. Space Labs, Federal Register. Let's go to Federal Register. Let's go to Federal Register. Nope, I don't want what's happening April 2nd. That happened already. Everything happened already. Okay, so here, look at 2016. Space Labs. Let's see if Space Labs show up here. There's a Space Lab module. All this information is just for me, right? But I just want to show you all the different routes you could take to look into the companies or the stakeholders that want to purchase, not just you, because if they get you, they get your bloodline all the way back from the time that they have started the research on your bloodline to bring you back into another 1,000-year cycle when you accept the mark of the beast, when you accept to be left behind. That's the purpose. That's the purpose of them trying so hard to do everything that they can to purchase your light. So again, for me, I'm showing you the different outlets, and you'll see all the different things and companies that were connected to you within the same network. So every time I see Hewlett, the Hewlett Packard system, my mind goes to Roxbury Technology and who the puppets were that didn't realize they were being used to draw me into the system formed by those spiritual wickedness in high places and the invisible schools and their holdings and their trading and their experiments through the research and development over the years. So Space Lab Healthcare, look at Hubble Lighting, Hewlett Packard, and all these other companies. This is 2016. Employment, training, administration. When I tell you that that was their focus at that time on me, then it goes back again. Every time I went against whatever it is that they planned in their simulation, they would put in a request to make adjustment for more monetary assistance to continue the research. This just Space Labs now. There's a document here with Space Labs that go right into 9/11/2019. 9/11/2019 is, hold up. Give me a moment. I'm checking something about 2019. As a matter of fact, I probably more than likely could go on my live and see what was I talking about or doing on that day. Anyways, they made an adjustment on 9/11/2019. Then they rewrote something in 1997. They rewrote the framework in 1997. 1996. They put out a handbook in 1995, Space Labs. And then this one really interested me, the Edgar File Manuals. And this one had to do with indentured sovereignty, like a direct connection to why they had me in there in the first place as part of their indentured sovereignty. If we let her live in peace with her son, the indentured sovereignty and the awakening of people, we will lose it all. We will lose it all. But of course, under contract, we just can't kill her. I told y'all it's already written about you. What would happen if you was taken out? If it's done unnaturally. Right now, my mind is considering and going into more research for myself on these companies. I just really wanted to come and show you that in your paperwork, you will know, because these are the days of transparency, whether at any time you were not a victim to the system, but when you walked in and accepted the things that were laid out for you, whether there's an implant in you or not, and how long you've been tested and researched on, and the names of the stakeholders out of the 3,000 billionaires that exist on this planet, you can find out. Again, Jesus came and said in the last days, study the flesh and blood. And you are in him, he is in you. So if he was telling you to study the flesh and blood, you know his flesh and blood doesn't exist on this plane, but only through you. And he's saying, if you study the flesh and blood, all you have to do is study the flesh and blood. You don't have to battle the flesh and blood. You don't have to battle the flesh and blood. I've already done that. But if you study it, if you take in the knowledge about your flesh and your blood, you'll know why. You will know why they've been trying to kill you and take all of the line of love and light out from the very foundations. And you will not just know your light, you will be a light. Some of you will only be able to be a light to one or two, but it's all gonna go to this world and all the generations. Now, if you make the wrong choice and you accept the mark of the beast and you're happy with what they have planned out for you, all the world in your generation will go back into the wheel, But this time, it's not going to be pretty. Their plan is to take you on a trip to Mars. And they have showed you what Mars looked like. They showed you what Mars looked like, and you down with it, huh? You down with the program. They're going to make Earth look like Mars. That's fine, because, again, God going to give them that time because you made the choice. Say, well, why would God allow that? No, because he want to make sure that this time ain't no confusion for the demons that decided, or the angels that decided, oh, when we worshiping God and we tired, and we forced to, we don't have a choice. We not doing this by choice. We was created so that we can worship out of, yeah. So this time, it ain't no confusion. You have a choice. That's what these last days about. Now the children are free. The children will be saved regardless. Y'all know who he talking to. Y'all know who he talking to. Let me come with the word. Let's go. Ooh. He speaks about God, his true children. Ooh. Born blind, I did that one. The crucial events, Lazarus, I did that one yesterday. Raising him from the dead, well, the day before yesterday. Take off that grave cloth, unwrap him, and let him go. As Lazarus came bound up in the grave cloth, Kanye, his face muffled in a head swath, Kanye, Jesus told them, unwrap him and let him go. And so at last, many of the Jewish leaders who were with Mary and saw it happen finally believed on him. But some went away to the Pharisees and reported it to them. They said, we going to the other platforms and we going to tell. What are we going to do? They asked each other. So let's go down. Let me see. Should I go straight to 12? Yeah. I have to follow the order. So let me go to the 12th, John 12. So I read, the last time I read from the scripture to you, I was in John 11, and I likened two individuals into this chapter in real time. Lazarus Lamel, the Messiah Code, and I left my message to him, and Kanye. Come out of the cloth. Now I'm into the 12th. 6 days before the Passover ceremonies begin. So from today, is it 6 days before the Passover ceremonies begin? I need to check that out. Jesus arrived to Bethany where Lazarus was, and the man he had brought back to life. 6 days before the Passover ceremonies began, Jesus arrived in Bethany where Lazarus was, the man he had brought back to life. A banquet was prepared in Jesus' honor. Martha served, and Lazarus sat at the table with him. Then Mary took a jar of costly perfume made from the essence of nard and anointed Jesus' feet with it and wiped it with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance. Your hair holds fragrances for years. Your hair holds the oils and the essence and instructions and codes from the sun for years. For years. The plasma within your code, in your DNA, for years. This end of this strand will tell you what I was doing in 2022. And I keep telling you what I love about my hair this time. What I love about my hair this go round, and there's no one else's DNA mixed in. No other man's DNA is mixed in with these strands. That's what I love about my hair. I'm so proud of my hair this time. But the coils to your hair. Woo! I'm not even swapping spit. Ain't no man's DNA is in these strands, but me and the sun and my grands and my children. So the fact of her taking and wiping the feet of the sun, the rays, some of us, the oils in our skin through the plasma and the sun, we naturally have natural oily skins. Oil is the perfume. The reason why most companies skip taking your urine sample that can be cleaned in an instant, or even your blood sample that can be cleaned in 30 days. And they go, if they want to know and hire you and want to know what you've been doing based on their stakeholders in their company, their preference is to take your hair, because your hair will let them know, oh, you was using drugs 5 years ago. You was on this medication 6 months ago. Oh, you was on. So if your hair holds information that long, the message of her celebrating and taking in and washing her hair with his feet and the perfume and the house was filled with the fragrance. But Judas, one of his disciples, the one who would betray him, said that perfume was worth a fortune. It should have been sold and money given to the poor. Now he concerned about the poor. He concerned about the poor. Remember, there's always two Judases. And every time John switched this story up on Judas. Which one is it? Judas care about the poor? Or he don't? It should have been sold and the money given to the poor. Not that he cared for the poor, so John say, but he was in charge of the disciples' funds and often dipped into them for his own use. What kind of own use if everybody was hanging together? If everybody was always together, what use? Mary must have been a disciple if he concerned about Mary's money. If this is what this points where John and his perspective in telling the story don't pan out properly. Because obviously, if Mary had expensive perfume, which again I showed you, where Mary and Martha and Lazarus were prominent beings. They were boule or bourgeois. So both boule and bourgeois to the point that Jesus was even angry. Mary, Martha, and Lazarus had high stands. They may have been middle class or so-called wealthy. Because again, it's only 3,000 billionaires, 1 to every 3 million individuals, and only 22 black billionaires. So let's say they was one of the 22, Mary and Martha, so bourgeois, so bougie, that even the Jews who were trying to kill Jesus, she running out of crying and making a scene. So the perfume that she had, here go Judas mad. Judas couldn't even still understand how and why Jesus still hanging around them. She got all that money and pouring it on Jesus' feet. I don't understand that. But then I guess Jesus makes him understand. Let's go and finish and see. I think all of that part was put in there so you realize how much money Mary and Martha had. Where their place was in the biblical narrative. They always showing Mary and Martha looking poor. Right? Ain't they always showing Mary and Martha them in rags? I'm just saying. So Jesus was invited to the banquet of the rich, knowing that these people was already trying to kill him. Now he done raised Lazarus from the dead. And here go Judas. He said what he said. And Jesus said, leave her alone. She did it in preparation for my burial. You can always help the poor, but I won't be with you very long. So now here's Jesus saying she wasn't doing no favors for herself. if she just sat there and made all this noise about Lazarus was stink. Y'all see, y'all take how Jesus was talking. Jesus just got over being angry. He just raised Lazarus against what was natural. Lazarus had been dead for 400 years, not 4 days. And they didn't bury him properly because he was stink. It almost like Mary and Martha was working with them, with the Jews who wanted to kill him. It ain't none of y'all could imagine that Mother Mary would also have a hand and be quiet behind the scenes and working with the Jews who wanted to kill Jesus. No, they're not talking about that Mary. Okay. Mary and Martha was cousins, right? Mary and Martha, when Mary went to see Martha when Jesus was when she was pregnant with Jesus, John jumped in the womb. That ain't the same Mary and Martha. That ain't the same Eastern Stars, red hat, white gloves. That's not them. Okay, my bad. My bad. But anyways, Mary made this big scene knowing that they was trying already out to kill Jesus. And then she gonna test him and then say if Lazarus would have been. And after all that she supposedly know about her son, then when he go to make the miracle happen, she gonna try to block him from showing who he is by saying, oh, nah, ain't no need of you rolling back the stone and it unveiling and revealing all of the family secrets because it's stink in the tomb. Meaning Mary and Martha, who were supposed to be the ones to make sure that the tomb, make sure that he was embalmed properly, didn't embalm him. And they didn't embalm him properly because after 4 days, if they had embalmed him properly, he wouldn't be stink. So that's why Jesus said what he said to Judas, like, Judas, don't even worry about it. You'll be able to help the poor. But this John want to switch up the story in his own perspective and don't tell it properly. So by the time they decipher the Bible to make you have to rightly divide the word of truth, you can't see it for what it truly is. So here go John saying, well, Judas, because Judas was the treasurer, he was the jewel of the family. That's why he had a problem with it. Jesus said, nah, Judas, don't worry about it. If it was Judas thinking improperly, Jesus would have straightened him right then. He was still just dealing with anger and loss and all that, and having to make a performance because Mary showed out and made a scene that didn't reflect the truth of the scenes. So now here we go, Martha and Mary. Jesus said, no, don't worry about it. All she doing is making sure I ain't stink. That's why right now she want to lavish me with love and wash her hair with my and be so kind, knowing the true story. She still ain't telling it all. But it's okay. It's okay. I done went above and beyond. All she doing is making sure that I ain't stink when I go to the grave. So Jesus said, leave her alone. She is doing it in preparation for my burial. You could always help the poor, but I won't be with you very long. Meaning, even though John talking about who betrayed Jesus, how she preparing for his death already. He letting you know everybody was betraying him. No? Okay. When the ordinary people of Jerusalem heard of his arrival, they flocked to see him and also to see Lazarus, the man who had come back to life again. Then the chief priests decided to kill Lazarus too. They're like, you know what? We're going to take Lazarus out too. Ain't no way in the world we finna let this dead man walk in. Ain't no way in the world. Ain't no way in the world we finna let 400 years of slavery be free. No way. So we gonna kill the last people. That's what they think. That's what they thought. For it was because of him that many of the Jewish leaders had deserted and believed in Jesus as their Messiah. This happened in less than a week. In less than a week, the Jewish leaders had to change their mind. In less than a week, the Jewish leaders had to change their mind about Jesus. No, that's what it's saying. That now the chief priests, the pharaohs, and all of the stakeholders that came together at the table and said, oh no, Lazarus got to go too. Anybody that is the last people proclaiming and professing love and light, they got to go too. The next day, the news that Jesus was on the way to Jerusalem was swept through the city. A huge crowd of Passover visitors took palm branches, they raised their palms, and went down to the road to meet him, shouting, the Savior, God bless the King of Israel. Hail to God's ambassador. Jesus rode along a young donkey. He had the key. He had Donkey Kong, huh? Donkey Kong. Fulfilling the prophecy that said, don't be afraid of your king, people of Israel, for he will come to you meekly, sitting on a donkey's coat. He will come meekly, sitting on a dawn, the key, and the colt. His disciples didn't realize at the time that this was the fulfillment of prophecy. Remember, the story of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Everything about this book is about Jesus from the beginning to the end. And it is the spirit of prophecy. And some of you don't realize that this day that you are the fulfillment of the prophecy. And because you are the living word from the beginning, in the beginning were the word, that prophecy is going to be fulfilled whether you choose it or not. But after Jesus returned to his glory in heaven, they noticed how prophecies of scripture had come true before their eyes. Now, see how John threw that in there? Because Jesus, according to the very moment that he wrote, whether he wrote it 10 years later, 5 years later, or whether he was taking notes at that very moment, he puts in, the disciples didn't realize at the time that this was a fulfillment of prophecy But after Jesus returned to his glory in heaven, then they noticed how many prophecies of scripture had come true before their eyes. Meaning, he's speaking after Jesus rose. He's telling the stories after Jesus had returned to heaven. Or he's telling the stories as if he's existing now. What part? What part did let me go to this Bible. Let's get this Bible. You know, I'm in my favorite application Bible, but let's go to John 11 in this Bible and see how they put that in there. If they even throw that in there the way that's in there. Where was I reading? John 12. $16. Fear not, daughter of Zion. Behold, the king cometh sitting on an ass's coat. These things understood not his disciples at first, but when Jesus was glorified, then remembered that these things were written of him, and that they had done these things unto him. Okay. They said with a bunch of days and that, daughter of Zion's. And those in the crowd who had seen Jesus call Lazarus back to life were telling all about it. So now everybody talking about what went on with Jesus and Lazarus. That was the main reason why so many went out to meet him, because they had heard about his mighty miracle. Then the Pharisees said to each other, "We've lost. Look, the whole world has gone after him." Some Greeks who had come to Jerusalem to attend the Passover paid a visit to Philip, who was from Bethsaida. Said, "Sir, we want to meet Jesus." Philip told Andrew about it, and they went together to ask Jesus. So now the Greeks come in the story. And if you go to Federal Register, not only did the day or the week that Trump made a proclamation of 1776, he also did a proclamation to the Greeks. If you go to Federal Register and go into Trump's orders or proclamations, the same week that he did the "We Are Living in the Spirit of 1776," the same week where he made a transition and let y'all know that 75% of the US dollar will be going into his World Liberty Bank. That same week, he did a proclamation for the heritage of the Greeks. So now here the Greeks come in and they say, "Look, we want to see Jesus." Jesus replied that the time had come for him to return to his glory in heaven, and that I must fall and die like a kernel of wheat that falls into the furrows of earth. Unless I die, I will be alone, a single seed. But my death will produce many new wheat kernels, plentiful harvests of new lives. If you love your life down here, you will lose it. If you despise your life down here, you will exchange it for eternal glory. If these Greeks want to be my disciples, tell them to come and follow me. For my servants must be where I am. And if they follow me, the Father will honor them. Now my soul is deeply troubled. Shall I pray? Father, save me from what lies ahead. But that is the very reason why I came. Father, bring glory and honor to my name. Now, he says this prayer out loud. He says this prayer so that Andrew and the Philippines and the baths can hear. They 22 baths that they got happening on this earth. You know what? Right now, they only have 21. I keep saying 22. They only have 21 billionaires, black billionaires, 6 in Nigeria, the rest here in the United States. They only have 21. The very moment that 22nd billionaire, it should happen in the next couple of days, will fulfill their 22 baths. I'm just saying, everything has been locked to what they don't want to see happen. Now, out of 3,100 billionaires, there's only 21 black. I'm going to use the term black because that's the term you know. Black billionaires. There's 22 dances for us in the Hebrew language, but it is 22 letters that they use to trap us in through the Solomon's house. They just started or began their bath ceremony. And there are 22 locations on earth that are bath ceremonial points. The very moment that 22nd billionaire hits the billionaire mark, and they're trying to space out their time, because Puff Daddy was right at that billionaire mark. When the 22nd billionaire, black billionaire hits, they're going to be ready for war. They don't want that to happen. That's another part of their symbology. That 22nd spot is not supposed to be filled. It's like going through Psalms 119 and hitting all 22nd letters, everybody waking up with each movement of the dance. I got to look into the 22 within the system of the body. I got to look into the 22. Is it 22 nodes? 22 notes, 22 nodes. I'll figure it out. So now, a voice spoke from heaven saying, I have already done this and I will do it again. When the crowd heard the voice, some of them thought it was thunder, while others declared an angel had spoken to them. So the thing about that very moment is everybody heard the voice. But some perspectives of the voice, everybody heard the voice a different way, but everybody heard the voice at the same time. Some of them said that the voice sounded like thunder. God answered Jesus right at the moment that he did that prayer. When he did that prayer, not only did the Jews that were standing around that wanted to kill him heard, the Jews that were standing around and said they got to kill Lazarus too heard, Greeks that were standing there heard, Philippines that were standing there heard, all those who come out of the house of Solomon, the daughters and sons of Bathsheba heard. Every being that was there heard when he prayed the prayer. They heard the voice of heaven. So that means the disciples, everyone heard. And the voice said, I have already done this, and I will do it again. What does that say to you? If he did a prayer saying, God, save me, Father, for what lies ahead. And he said, I did it already. And I'm going to do it again. There's that proof that I keep saying. Every single time it has been about taking Jesus out. Every single time it has been about taking the bloodline of Judah out. He's reminding Jesus, see, remember, I did it before, and I'm going to do it again. And then there's going to be one more time, and that's going to be the last time. Now, everybody heard the message that he did it before, and that's why you're still here after every single reset. Oh, the ice age, your bloodline's still here. The Stone Age, bloodline's still here. Meteor hit the planet, bloodline's still here. Mars turned into Earth, bloodline, Earth turned into Mars, you still here. Thousands of destructive hurricanes, when hurricanes on Earth was going over 200 million miles per hour. Bloodline's still here. They beat you down and killed you on a slave boat, so your family line says, but your bloodline's still here. And what he's saying, and he said it loud, God responded at that time when God wasn't talking to nobody anymore. You just listen to Jesus. He spoke so everybody can hear. He said, I did it before, and I'm going to do it again. Some people heard it and thought it was an angel. Are you hearing angels' voices reminding you that you are native to the kingdom of heaven and that all the things that they did before, they're doing it again, but this is the final time? And you have the right to choose love and light. You have the right to choose what they have for you too. But if you say to the Father, save me from what lies ahead, show me, God. If you say, yes, God, I know the reason why you sent me. I know why I'm here. And I only want to bring honor and glory to your name. He said, look, I did it before and I'm going to do it again. Then Jesus told him, the voice was for your benefit, not mine. The voice is for your benefit, not mine. The stories is for your benefit, not mine. That's what Jesus said. The time of judgment for this world has come. And the time when Satan, the prince of the world, shall be cast out. That's this time. Look, it didn't happen. Then the time for the prince to be cast out didn't happen at that moment because he's still rampaging and raging and entering into the minds of those who accept and open up the entry door for him to work within their souls and spirits through the seed of hate. So if at that moment Jesus said, the judgment of the world has come, this word is for your benefit. And the time when Satan, the prince of the world, shall be cast out has come. But it didn't happen then. Don't you realize that it's about to happen now? And when I am lifted up, now somebody put in brackets on the cross, because he didn't say on the cross. He just said, when I am lifted up, I will draw everyone to me. He said this to indicate he was going to die. No, he didn't, John. Your perspective don't match the perspective of Grandma Ab. I don't care what they say. I study to show myself approved. If you lift yourself up out of your bed and take up your bed and you walk in love and light, you'll draw all men into love and light. He said he was indicated he was going to die. Die, asked the crowd. We understood that the Messiah would live forever and never die. Why are you saying you will die? What Messiah are you talking about? Jesus replied, my light will shine out for you just a little while longer. Walk in it while you can and go where you want to go before the darkness falls. For then it will be too late for you to find your way. The darkness has not fell yet, y'all. But the darkness is about to fall. And they're playing it and they're telling you a Federal Register, they're going to do it. Make use of the light while there is still time. 12 hours of light. All of the 12 symbols within your structure, in your body, that they thrive off of when you pick up the phone, when you walk in the hospitals, when they use simulations pretending that they looking down on you, when all of the simulations out there was taken from what was written on your light code and your DNA. Make use of the light while there is still time. Then you will become light bearers. After saying these things, Jesus went away and hid from them. After Jesus made all that and he showed them, he raised Lazarus from the dead. After he was mad about it, after he let them know what his mama was about. After all that, he done put it all out there, front street. God spoke so that the whole environment could hear. And then he just went and hid. He said, I'm done. It's nothing else for me to say. I done showed and proved time and time again. But despite all these miracles he had done, most of the people would not believe that he was the Messiah still. Now, everybody that was standing around realized and heard the voice after he said that final message. Oh, I get it now. It's for real, for real. Who will accept accept God's mighty's miracle as proof. But they couldn't believe it, for Isaiah also said, God has blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts so that they can neither hear nor understand nor turn to me to heal them. Isaiah was referring to Jesus when he made this prediction, for he had seen the vision of the Messiah's glory. However, even many of the Jewish leaders believed him to be the Messiah, but wouldn't admit it to anyone because of the fear of the pharaohs, and that the pharaohs would excommunicate them from the synagogue, for they loved to praise men more than they praised God. Now here, Jesus shouted to the crowd, if you trust me, you're really trusting God. For when you see me, you are seeing the one who sent me. I have come as a light to shine in the dark world, so that all who put their trust in me will no longer wander in the darkness. If anyone hears me and doesn't obey, I am not his judge, for I have come to save the world, not to judge it. But all who reject me and my message will be judged at the day of judgment by truths I have spoken. For these are not my own ideas. These are not my ideologies, not my methodologies, not my theory, Jesus said. Jesus said, I have told you what the Father said to tell, and I know his instructions lead to eternal life. So whatever he tells me to say, I say so. That's the 12th. And I swear that on my 12 fingers. They say you're not supposed to swell. Okay. I don't have to swell on my 12. I have the remnants of the 12 on purpose, not by man's design. And Elon, Space Labs, Aleutian, Zeiss, God is on the way to smush whatever design you got in mind, now that I'm narrowing it down to who put the unique device identifier in me. According to the documents, I have 1, 2, 3 devices. It's time for me to start talking to those devices. No, I'm not the crazy one. I'm not one of those who know or find out. And let me put a disclaimer. Disclaimer. If you find out and look at your paperwork and realize you have a device and you don't go trying to dig it out and all that, what you do is now meditate. Use the different frequencies that you know about to counteract against what they are doing. And the one thing that scrambles the frequencies is love. The one thing that confuses the demons is love. They can see love coming off the ocean of a terrible tsunami and the worst hurricane going at 300 miles per hour. They can see love that far, and they don't like when it gets near. The devices in you is betting on hatred growing within you and spreading the message of hatred and darkness so that they can create a new Mars to look just like the Mars that they've placed out there for you to imagine what Mars looks like. And that's what they want this planet to be. Their Mars society. It's up to you. You have a choice. But that's the disclaimer. You go get your paperwork and see and know that they've been experimenting on you this long, and you have a device within you. Some of you are aware of the devices. You know, it's some who say, okay, yes, I'm going to go get a knee replacement. They know they have that device. Some have had hearts, computers placed in their heart. They know, but they don't really know the extent of the studies that's being done on them as individuals. They don't even realize that some of those devices are recorders or trackers of your frequency. You could be out there feeding thousands of people and go home worshiping demons and having all type of filth within the closed doors, and they're able to record that. That's what I love the most. These last days, that's the thing that has satisfied me and put me in a state where I'm the most happiest. Even the last conversation, let's say over the last 90 days, to find out that I've been right all along about the implants that are within me. And 2 of the implants it shows are possibly recordable data. And that everybody that I've been encountering since 1992 is in a piece of removable data that's within my system. So they know all along that I've been telling the truth. And they've known the story since 1992. They have been recording every movement that I've been making. Phone call datas, everything that's been happening around me, that I have been being tested all this time. But like I said, the whole time that y'all thought y'all were testing me and making a joke out of me and all of the hidden secrets and the sacred places and the secrets and all of the conversations, every place that I have traveled, Space Labs got your information. The Melchizedeks, well, it looked like that. Out of Germany, they got your been recording. I am a whole walking archive, huh? The Zeiss, boy, y'all wait till I come to Carl Zeiss. All these different places based on I can't wait to narrate it all the way down to that one demon. I am glad to be of service of the Lord. Greater light, greater light. Choose ye this day.
You are the light.
I am the light. I am the light.
Jesus said, I am the
I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. I am the light.
I am the light. That's paradise cycle, not those particulars of night. I gave up that ghost, Eloy. I'm a sub. Ghost particulars of night.